Hey, Bama fans, the Tide getting ready for the SEC championship game against Georgia. We're already starting our breakdown, but I'm going to tell you today why it doesn't matter what happens in Atlanta. Alabama is a lock, and they're already playoff bound. Stick around. Let's talk about it. It's a sure thing. This is Way Offsides. 3, 2, let's go. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. Welcome into Way Offside, your favorite Alabama talk here on YouTube. Big week coming up for the Tide. Early signing period is Wednesday. Not a lot of shakeups. It doesn't look like there's going to be. I think Alabama has already had their drama with the whole guy Zion Gibson thing that happened over the weekend. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a video about it on the channel. You can go check that out when you're done here. But we're previewing the SEC championship game, a matchup as the good Lord intended. Alabama and Georgia will play for the title of the Southeastern Conference in Atlanta on Saturday. And all is right with the world. Other teams are sitting at home on the couch, worrying about who's going to be their head coach. And Georgia and Bama, once again, will clash for the SEC. Now, Georgia is a lock for the college football playoff. One loss in the regular season. That one loss comes to Alabama in Athens. I think it was week 4. Alabama has 2 losses in the regular season, one of them being in conference, the other one being that inexplicable loss to a really bad FSU team on the road in week 1. Now, a lot of the commentary around this game has been, if Alabama loses to Georgia, will they miss the college football playoff? Well, it felt that way for a little bit. It felt like the college football playoff committee made a statement by putting Alabama at number 10 behind Notre Dame, kind of on that bubble, and took away any margin for error in the championship game. However, even myself was nervous and worried about, could they leave Alabama out? Are they trying to leave Alabama out? Is that what they're setting up? Are they trying to make this easier for themselves? I thought they were. But despite what others are saying, it looks like Vegas feels differently. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today and maybe put some of your fears to rest. We're also going to be breaking down more of the Georgia game. We did the defense yesterday by the numbers. We'll have the offense by the numbers coming later today. Ton of stuff. Our live show is going to be packed on Thursday night at 8 p.m. You need to be there. The best way to do that is subscribe to the channel. It's free, keeps the channel free, takes only a second. Hit the notification bell. You won't miss anything. You'll know when we go live. You'll know when we post shorts, when we post uploads. Makes it super simple. So, deep breaths. All right. Alabama right now sitting on the bubble. It is Tuesday morning when I'm recording this. Obviously, the next round of college football playoff rankings will come out tonight. And I fully expect Alabama to get moved up to number 9 in front of Notre Dame. It will make this much simpler for the committee. Why? Well, because Notre Dame doesn't play a conference game. I think that was probably the plan all along. Alabama will play a conference game, and they will not, or they shouldn't be. I shouldn't say anything definitive because who knows actually what's going to happen. I'm just telling you what the writing on the wall looks like. But they should not be penalized for playing in a conference championship game when other playoff contenders are sitting at home soaking their feet on the couch. One of which isn't even in a conference to play in a conference championship game. Looking at you, Golden Domers. Now, I get it. I understand the idea of leaving out a 3-loss team, even if one of those losses comes in an SEC championship, especially if that SEC championship loss is to a team you beat in the season. It's kind of like almost, you could make the argument that it kind of is a wash, right? Obviously, if Alabama wins this thing, they're locked in, no matter what. Now, the other side of this fence is if you look at ESPN, their playoff predicting tool, right? It's got Alabama at a 39% if they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game. That tool is massively corrupt. Mike Rodak, I love Mike, but he's sharing this a lot on social media today, yesterday. But hey, he's not an idiot. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, that tool is busted. It is busted up. Okay. what you have to look at are odds. That's probably the most dependable thing right now. FanDuel has Alabama at minus 2,000 to make the college football playoff, as opposed to like, I don't know. I got to look at it, but pretty beneficial for the Tide. Pretty likely that Alabama will make the college football playoff even with a loss in the SEC championship game. That is what we're going by here. So, yes, I do think that obviously there's an opportunity if Alabama loses to Georgia to keep the Tide out. You can make that argument. It's not an argument that holds a lot of water, but the committee does strange things all the time. However, historically, they set a precedent last year when they left Alabama out for SMU. So I feel like the precedent's there, and I don't think you can devalue a team based off of their conference schedule, especially in the Southeastern or their conference championship game, especially in the Southeastern Conference. You can't do that in the Big Ten. There are some conferences, now pending, this all changes if Alabama goes into Atlanta and gets beat by 40 points, right? If they get blown out realistically by 17, 21 points, this might change. And realistically, taking my goggles off, if Alabama goes and gets manhandled by Georgia, maybe it should. But ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen. The Bulldogs are favored by 1.5 in basically what's their own backyard, even though Alabama's kind of owned them in that stadium. I just don't feel like a blowout is in the cards here. Alabama's defense is really, really good. Georgia's defense is solid. Georgia's offense looks a little bit better than Alabama's right now, but Alabama's offense, it looks like maybe they're starting to kick it up a gear. I don't know. We'll see. But there's been some regression. Iron Bowl wasn't pretty, but they were able to get some things done against one of the best defenses they played all year. So I don't expect it to be a blowout. So assuming that's the case, Alabama loses a close game within a touchdown, within 10 points. The Tide get into the college football playoff. They're favored right now to get into the college football playoff, despite what happens in Atlanta. And there's the other side of this conversation that we've kind of had on the show that a lot of you are having on social media is if you leave the SEC runner up out, the SEC team that goes into the SEC championship game as the number one seed, if you leave that team out, it absolutely destroys any reason to play conference championship games down the road. We're already seeing schedule changes. Alabama announced this morning that they just moved their UCF game to like 2032 and replaced it with Chattanooga next year. They're going to play Marshall in 2027. That's going to continue to happen as long as the committee shows that the strength of wins don't matter. If Alabama were to lose to Georgia in the SEC championship game and get left out of the playoff, it shows that those ranked wins they have right there in the middle of the season don't matter. So I don't think anybody wants to do that. It would also put a big decision on Greg Sankey's plate. I know that there's a lot of money involved in the SEC championship game, but long term, it makes more sense to get as many teams in the college football playoff as you can. I know that with expansion of the playoff, maybe the SEC championship game could survive if that happened. But honestly, we would just be having that conversation about somebody else. Right. So I don't know. You could look at it potentially that expansion of the college football playoff fixes the championship problem, but could it not? I don't know. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like down the road. One big problem I have is the at-large bid for the group of 5 teams. I don't think that should be a thing. Personally, I think you're leaving out, especially this season, you're going to leave out a team who could legitimately compete for a national championship. You're going to leave a team out of the playoff because of that spot. And that's who's everybody's gripe should be, no matter who gets in, who doesn't. If Notre Dame doesn't get in, if Texas doesn't get in, if Miami doesn't get in, their gripe should be with that at-large spot. If Alabama doesn't get in, the gripe should be with that at-large spot. But right now, per Vegas, Alabama is heavily favored to make the college football playoff, even with the loss to Georgia. ESPN's prediction tool is busted. it's not good. So take that for what it is. Tell me what you think in the comment sections below. You're all good about being very, very loud and proud. So holler at me. Let me know what you think. As always, subscribe, say your prayers, read your Bibles, wash your hands, horns down, beat Auburn and LSU and Tennessee too. Roll Tide.